All right, so we're looking at quadratic formula. So this is a quadratic. We did the first few times there, 6 days of factoring. Today we're going to do it by quadratic formula. So you need to watch. The two most important ones that you need to know is factoring and quadratic formula, because factoring can be quick, whereas quadratic formula you can solve any quadratic with it. So the number that is next to the m squared is our a, the number that is next to the m is the b, and the number that has no variable is the c, and all we do is replace. So I can see straight down, and I'm going to use this for reference sheet for those of you who like to use the reference sheet. That's b, so b is 9. So where I see a b, I will replace it with 9. Everybody see that? 9, b is 9. Now I have a. Well, I look up what is a. A is 3. So I put 3 in there. I see that that is c. What is c? C is 6. And down at the bottom, I still have that a. Well, what is a? A is 3. So I put 3 in there. Now, once I've done that, I'm just going to do everything I can here, and I can do that multiplication, I can do that exponent, I can do all of this multiplication, and I can do the multiplication on the bottom. So I have negative 1 times 9, which is negative 9. I have 9 squared, which is 9 times 9. And remember, if there's a negative in there, you have to put the parentheses for the negative. I would enter in your calculator exactly as you see it, with the parenthesis, the 9, or if it was negative 9, parenthesis and 2. Remember, it will always come out as a positive number. So we gotta put the parentheses. If you're going to enter in that calculator, I would, because if you have a negative and you don't enter that parenthesis in there, it's going to come out as a negative number, because it thinks it thinks that you're taking. Let's say it's negative 9. It thinks that you're taking the 9 and squaring it and getting 81, and then multiplying it by the negative 1. Whereas when you put the parenthesis, now you're saying, okay, I'm doing negative 9 times negative 9. So the calculator is just weird that way. So negative 4 times 3 times 6. Who's got that for me? Negative 72. Excellent. And 2 times 3? 6. Well, guys, I can't do anything with the negative 9 because it's plus or minus a radical, and this is 6 times a radical, or divided by a radical, so I can't do that. But I can, on the inside, I can do that operation in there, 81 minus 72, which is what, 9? Yeah. And then I just rewrite. I just bring my 9 down, and I bring my 6 back down. Well, then the only thing I can do there is that radical part. That's that square root of 9. And what is the square root of 9? Is everybody able to do square roots on their calculator? Know where the button is. Push that little square root button. That little square root button right there. You push that button, put the 9 in there, and hit equals. 3. So your 3 is going to go up here. No radical. You're not going to have the radical there. Okay, no square root. And then you just put your negative 9 and your 6. At this point, because it's negative 9 plus 3 and negative 9 minus 3, we're just split it apart. So we have negative 9 plus 3 over 6, and we have negative 9 minus 3 over 6. And the reason for that, guys, is because the square root of 9 is 3, and the square root of negative 9 is 3. So that's why we have the plus and minus, because the negative could work on either one of them. All right, negative 9 plus 3 then? Negative 6 over 6. And we can just do that right now. What's negative 6 over 6? Negative 1. Negative 9 minus 3? Negative 12 over 6. And what is negative 12 over 6? Or divided by 6? Negative 2. You can put brackets, you can put braces, but do not put parentheses. That'll be something totally different. Pretty easy. It's just you have to make sure that you're doing the right steps at the right time, okay? It helps you. I'm going to tell you this because graphic organizers help your brain organize the information. when I do these little circles, if you do those little circles, it's going to help your brain remember what you're supposed to do. So do the little circles. It's going to help your brain. All right? All right, let's look at number 2. And I guess I can just use the reference sheet because I think everybody gets it if they're just doing it on their own. So there's number 2. And of course, we're looking at the A being the 6 because it's that one. There's a 1 here. So that's our B, and that's our C. Okay, we need to make sure that we start lining up equations when we simplify them or put them that they're the highest to the middle to the lowest. Okay, all the way down to the lowest. I can move this up. I don't need the first one. I know I'm using the reference part of the reference sheet that doesn't have the things in there, but I can put them in there. So -1 with that, and then all I did was put the parentheses where there were letters. So here we go. So my first 2 are B's, and my B happens to be what? 1. So I'm going to put 1 in for each of those. What are the A's? I know these 2 are the A's because I can see it. So what is A? 6. So I'm going to put 6 here and 6 here. And then what is C? Not 5. -5. Remember, we make sure we're doing -5. Hey, part of your work, Eric, is you doing this. Did you do number 1, or are you just sitting there watching? Is 1 done? Okay. Just making sure. That's why I'm giving people credit, because you're following along. All right. Do me a favor. Do the little circles. If you're not familiar with this yet, and you're not sure what to do next, do the little circles. I'm going to start setting you free. We're going to do 3, and then I'm going to set you free, and I'm going to go around and look. So I do the circle so I know what to do. -1 times 1, -1. 1 squared, 1. -4 times 6 times -5 is going to be a positive number. What do we got there? 5 and 6 is 30 times 4 is 120. And 2 times 6 is 12. So I did this, 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 and this. Now I'm going to do what's on the inside. So I can just carry this stuff down. So 1 plus 120 is 121. Then I'm going to do the whole thing. The whole square root. So the square root of 121 is 11. Bring the -1 and the 12. So once I do that, I'm going to split it apart. Because one's being added, one's being subtracted. Because we honestly don't know if 11 is positive or negative. We don't know, because -11 squared is 121 and 11 squared is 121, so we don't know. 1 minus 11, 10 over 12. And we can do 10 over 12. What is that going to reduce to? With your calculators here, we'll do that. 5 over 6. -1 minus minus 11 would be -12. -12 over 12 is -1. Those are our x's, our zeros, our x-intercepts. And I'm going to do one more, and then we're going to set you free, and I'll come walking around. You guys at home, just try it. If you need help, make sure you get on Google Meet with me. Some of you have been doing a really good job. So this next one I'm going to do on paper. So number 3, 3p plus 10p. Actually, let's do number 4. Because number 4 is that unique one. So you guys, everybody should do number 3 on their own. We'll do that next. But I'm going to do a sample here on the video. These videos are getting long. Of number 4. So I'm going to use the quadratic formula. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times a. What does that translate to? Well, that's all I did. Took the letters out and put in parentheses. So I know if I look, I'm looking for b, right? So b is what? 8. A is 1, that's the A, so 1 and 1 there. Top and there. And the last one is always the C. And what is C? 16. Excellent. So the parts I'm going to do, this part, the squared part, the negative 4 times the 3 over there, and that part. It's going to help you to do that. If you don't understand what to do next, circling them is going to help, as well as having it on your notes. So negative 1 times 8, negative 8, plus or minus. What's 8 squared? 8 times 8. 64. Negative 4 times 1 times 16. It's going to be negative 64. Yep, negative 64. 2 times 1, 2. All right. What's the only thing we can do? What's on the inside? And we end up with negative 8 plus or minus the square root of 0 over 2. Jumping off the screen here. Well, guys, 2 ways I can do this. I can go ahead and, because the square root of 0 is 0, right? If I want to break this apart, I can break it apart, or I can just leave it negative 8 over 2. What's negative 8 over 2? Negative 4. Negative 4 is the answer. It's that weird one, because look, if I do the plus 0 or negative 8 minus 0 over 2, I'm still getting the same thing, right? I'm getting negative 4 and negative 4. So it doesn't matter. Once you get, and you know that this becomes 0, it's just gone. It's that part right there. It's that negative 8 over 2. There is one on there like that. So you guys at home, get to it. At home, get the next one done so you can do it and then jump on Google Meet with me.